Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's a rare Tuesday stream. Welcome on into our conferencing kit Q&A. We're going to be talking all about this new bundle that we shared for all of you guys to make your meetings better. So I'm here with Phil, and in just a moment, we'll be introducing another Phil. But first, this is a little bit different than our normal streams. This is, normally we're talking about all these different use cases for our products, but this one's really cool because it's specifically for meetings, one-on-ones, for making your virtual presence in these kinds of calls more professional, more engaging, and how you can combine hardware and software to do that. So just to start, let's run a poll real quick. We're going to be talking a lot about meetings today. Today, it's a meeting. You're in the meeting. Thank you for showing up.
Cool type, not the boring type
Yeah,
where you
it's
just
like
have to
the
sit in.
cool type of meeting.
Yeah.
This is the cool one-on-one. But yeah, that being said, I just want to know how many of you guys have, meetings. You're taking your meetings virtually. How many one-on-ones are you taking? Type yes in chat or no in chat, depending on if you take virtual meetings or one-on-ones. I know I do. I'll put yes in chat. I got lots of virtual meetings. I'm always in different calls, whether it's just one-on-one Slack calls or group Teams calls or even like company-wide Zoom calls. I'm always on any sort of call, and I also do my own calls, like Discord calls, like being a guest on streams, joining other people on their content. A lot of calls, basically. What about you, Phil? You got a lot of meetings, I know.
Absolutely, all the time. In fact, even just before coming on this stream, we were just in a meeting going over a really cool new product launch that we're super excited about. So yeah, all the time, every day. And it's so important these days to have just a great presence on your meetings, either if you're presenting or even if you're just attending,
Yeah.
as a viewer, or just, a part of that meeting. How you come across digitally is so important. we spend so much time ensuring that we, look good, sound good, have the proper attire and everything in real life meetings. But throughout, of course, the pandemic and COVID and the shift to remote work, there has been just a need for looking better online, and a part of that is video, a part of that is audio, a part of that is the software and just how you present. And so we're going to talk about all of that today with a very special guest.
Yes, we're getting a lot of yeses from people that work in many different places. So happy to hear that no matter where you work, we're all having meetings online and we're all engaging with people across different teams around the world. I mean, at Elgato, we have a global team. So, sometimes we have those 7 a.m. virtual meetings. We have, maybe sometimes, later, depending on what region you're talking to. But yeah, basically, nobody has said no. I'm actually kind of surprised. I should have maybe made that quantity instead of percent. But yeah, 100% of you guys who have responded, you have virtual meetings on one-on-ones. I mean, it's kind of like the way it is now. I mean, I started working professionally during COVID, so that's when my career started. I am very familiar with virtual meetings. All of my meetings were virtual when I started. So yeah, that being said, literally not even one no. I'm honestly kind of surprised. Yeah, let's go ahead and bring in our special guest for today, who I'm sure is very, very familiar with meetings, being that Phil is the CEO of Airtime. So let's go ahead and bring him on. Hello, Phil.
Good to be with you guys. Thank you for having me.
Just 1 second, we'll bring you on. Guest three. Yeah. All
All
right.
right.
So, Phil, can you go ahead and introduce yourself? You're a new face to the stream. We normally have one Phil. Now we have two Phils. The stream is filled with Phils today. This is the fourth time I've said that joke, by the way, in the past 2 days.
Probably not the
You,
last
na-
time either.
you
Hi.
nailed it. You nailed it this time. It was
Perfect.
perfect.
Uh, so, yeah, can
Thank
you go
you.
ahead and introduce yourself and let everybody know your background and why you're joining us today?
Yeah, great to be here. Thank you. My name is Phil Libin, and I am the CEO of Airtime. I am kind of a long time tech guy. I started in a few companies. Was lucky enough to be able to build some cool products with some really amazing people. Probably the one that most people know me for is Evernote. But we started Airtime about 5 years ago, right at the beginning of COVID, when we all just started having endless video meetings, and they were pretty terrible. And we've kind of been obsessed with how do you make video meetings and video in more generally better. We used to be called mm-hmm. Some of you may remember that name. It was a spectacularly bad name. And everyone kept telling me that, but I ignored people for a long time. But I finally saw the light, so we changed our name to Airtime, and we try to make the essential tools for people who work on video.
And a lot of us do. I mean, in fact, we're doing it right now, right? I mean, we are live streaming out to the world, but one way that we like to look at these things is that, in fact, when you are in a meeting, you are just live streaming, but instead of to an audience of possibly hundreds of thousands, it's just to maybe one or two or just a small group of people. You mentioned Evernote. I long time user and really, really loved it. So that's a super cool thing to come from. Um, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I guess to dive in a little bit more about your background, inspired now Airtime. Also Airtime, great name by the way. It's like super clean. So what kind of inspired this whole journey for you?
Well, it's really kind of the same journey I feel that I've been on for a while. Even back at Evernote, even before, I've been kind of obsessed with productivity, with how to accomplish what you want to accomplish in life, and specifically with communication and with making people a little bit smarter, helping you remember more, helping you communicate more clearly, organize your own thoughts, and I think communicating over video is kind of the essential productivity skill, productivity hack right now. I think whether you're back at the office, fully at the office, or fully working from home, or some combination, there's basically feels like there's two types of knowledge workers right now. There's people who sit on Zoom calls from home, and there's people who sit on Zoom calls from the office. So regardless whether that's literally 100% of your meetings or just 20%, it's a really important thing. And it really struck me about how much people, for the most part, hate video calls, hate video meetings. They're kind of dreadful most of the time, and I couldn't figure out why. because I don't think it was anything having to do with the format of video, right? There's plenty of stuff on video that we're super engaged with, right? I'll watch hours of random YouTube content, not to mention, movies and TV shows. So like video could be really, really engaging and could be very effective as communication. Pretty much everything I know now I learned from watching YouTube tutorials. And yet when we use it for work, it kind of sucks. So how do we make it better? And that's kind of been an obsession of mine and of ours, of the Airtimes team for a while. And I think we finally cracked it. I think we finally kind of figured out a significant way to make video communications just suck a whole lot less than it does. In fact, actually be kind of fun.
So it sounds a little bit like the way you might even think about being online digitally and being in a video call is like creating a
Yeah.
YouTube video per se.
Yeah, there's definitely an element to that. There's definitely an element to, and that's why I think like your core audience, Elgato's core audience of people who are familiar with streaming, with content creation, um, are already have a leg up because part of it is just realizing that you're the entertainment, right? This is something that all of us understood in person meetings, right? If you have an in person meeting and you're boring, it's not going to be effective, right? It's sort of your job to not be boring. So you have to, kind of try to know what you're talking about, speak in an engaging way. Most people who were, successful, kind of understood this inherently in personal meetings and face-to-face meetings. And we've had, some 100,000 or so years of practice as a species in being
Yeah.
not boring in person. And then video happened, and all of us forgot. All of us were just like, well, it's not my responsibility. I'm just going to sit here with my camera off and like look bored and unprofessional, and then somehow still expect to be effective.
Yeah.
So it's not a new philosophy. Like you're the entertainment, whoever you are, if you're trying to communicate well. It's just that doing it on video requires a slightly different set of skills, skills that a lot of people in your audience already have. It's just, but very few people apply those to work scenarios, which is a wasted opportunity. So we are here to make that better.
And I guess another point to that is you kind of lose a little bit of the energy that you might have in person, right? Sitting across from someone. It's very easy to, see micro expressions and to just get
Yeah,
across energy. Whereas on
definitely.
video, you're losing a good 20-30% of that. So you have to essentially overhype yourself. And that's a part of, I think, that skill that you're talking about, right?
Yeah, but even if you overhype yourself, that doesn't mean you even see the reactions of somebody
That's true
else. I
too.
mean, a lot of the tactics you would use in an in-person meeting, like maybe bringing in donuts, now everyone's happy, right? Or like a nice handshake, these nice little side conversations, you lose those virtually. And also those, even like walking by someone's desk and having a little conversation. When things are virtual, you don't get to have those, kinds of interactions and those, additional, like maybe additional brainstorming, those little moments, right? So yeah, like you mentioned, being able to enhance your video presence is basically just a different tactic to have those kinds of, engaging moments, even though you're not able to do the in-person ones, maybe as
Yeah,
often or ever with some people.
I don't think it's so much overhyping. I think it's about using a different set of tactics and
Yeah.
and having those be second nature. So it's not so much that you have to overdo it. You have to calibrate your enthusiasm. You have to you
Yeah.
have to understand
That's a good quote.
that
Not
you're on
curb your
video.
enthusiasm, calibrate your enthusiasm.
Calibrate your enthusiasm. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that being said, what did we do here, right? So conferencing kit that we're talking about today is our hardware solution joined with software from Airtime. And essentially what this bundle does is it gives you that one-on-one feeling and the ability to, have some more, using all these different points of what a video call can be and basically combines them into one bundle. So maybe we can move over conferencing kit real quick to kind of showcase it. Can you bring it over?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for everybody watching today, if you haven't heard about Conferencing Kit, or maybe you have heard about it, but you want to learn more, This is conferencing kit on the hardware side, and when you buy conferencing kit, you have the choice to get Facecam Pro or not. You could bring your own camera or your own webcam, but you will get prompter and you will get Wave desk stand, and you'll also get a year subscription to Airtime. So all these really cool things that Phil is going to be, toggling and showcasing, and we also, other Phil, will also be showcasing and toggling for you guys, so you can get a little bit more insight into what is Airtime. Which, by the way, if anyone's interested, exclamation point Airtime, you can get a link there for more information about what Airtime is in the chat. But yeah, so Airtime, this is the hardware solution. Phil, what are you looking at?
Yeah, so I mean,
Mhm.
there's two parts to this, or there's a couple components. There's the hardware side and the software side of it. The hardware side is what we at Elgato excel at, and then of course Phil here from Airtime, that's the software component of it. Um, Now, Phil, you mentioned that there was like a light bulb moment in here, and you kind of figured out how to look better online. And again, there's a hardware component of that and the software component. So how does Airtime factor into this, and what does Airtime bring into when I'm digitally presenting to someone or creating content?
Thanks, Phil. So I'm using this kit right now. I love saying that. I don't think I've ever said that before, other than when I'm, daily affirmations in front of the bathroom mirror. But for
Yeah.
real, yeah. Thank you. Um, so here's how this kind of came together, right? So I've been, trying out and buying every type of home video equipment, cameras, lights, microphones, everything. I've tried like all of it. And over the years, I've noticed that more and more and more of it just started becoming Elgato stuff. This is way before I met anyone in your team, way before we started working together. I just wound up with all of this Elgato stuff because it literally just replaced everything else I was using because it was better in some important way. Like, I went through a bunch of webcams, so they weren't very good. But then I went to high end, DSLRs, but those were like heavy and they would overheat. I would have to have like a fan pointed at it, and once in a while it would collapse, on top of my monitor in the middle of a
Oh
call. And
no.
so
Oh
like the Elgato cameras were just like perfect. Same thing, I used to use green screens. I don't use green screens anymore because I actually think that totally fake backgrounds are kind of mid. They're kind of sus, like it's inauthentic. And one of the
Hmm.
things that makes video communications effective is being authentic. And it's hard to do that on top of a totally fake, something. So you want to have that element of it. So more and more, I just noticed that everything was becoming Elgato, and I was doing a lot of work around just how do you configure it? How do I get my Stream Deck to do? And how do I set this up? And how do I set that up? And I bought the teleprompter that you guys have, and I realized that I actually like very rarely do I use it as a teleprompter, like meaning that I read a script off of it. But when I set it up just right, and the just right was important, to be like perfectly set up so that I can put my laptop underneath it and put the people that I was looking at on the teleprompter screen. Everything kind of snapped into place, and it was perfect because I had something that I could use to look at people and see who I was talking to and maintain eye contact. But at the same time, I had a very natural place right below it where I can like look at documents and point at things. And that's what I'm using now. And really a light bulb went off. And it's not what people think, right? People think that like, well, a lot of people think that what's really important is eye contact. And eye contact is important. It's super important. Your eyes are like people's eyes are probably the thing that we are most evolved, like
Hmm. Yeah.
literally hundreds of millions of years of mammalian evolution, to like look at eyes and just determine what someone is doing or feeling or thinking. And so eye contact is important, but that doesn't mean you're locking eyes with someone. You're not supposed to be staring at the camera. That's really weird and really creepy. If you're like locking eyes with someone, the only time you do that in real life is if you want to fight them or
Yeah.
maybe walk with them or something. And the number of people that I either want to fight or kiss is like relatively small percentage of the people that I wind up talking to on video. So it's not about like locking eyes. It's about naturally, just like you do in real life. If you're sitting across each other at a table, when you're talking to someone, you make eye contact, you look at them. When you're looking at a document, you see you have pieces of paper on a table, you look down, and then you look back up, and you look down, and you like get a cup of coffee and you drink it. And you're making just enough eye contact. And that's key. And the only way to do that is to have a really ergonomic setup. Otherwise, you're just like you're straining, and that strain comes through, and you're less comfortable and less effective, and the whole thing kind of spirals out of control. And the worst possible thing are these like AI solutions that like fake eye contact
Mhm,
that were like
mhm.
popular a while ago. Those are like that is the most suspicious thing you can do. That is like directly at the bottom of the uncanny valley, right? Of like you can't quite tell what the hell is wrong with this person, but there's clearly something wrong. You're
There's
getting like
something off, yeah.
Yeah.
a very strong ick. Like, is this a zombie? Like, what? Like, are they? Like, it's like it's kind of terrifying. It is exhausting. So the kit that you guys have put together is kind of perfect because it lets you look at people when you're talking and look down when you actually want to look at a document, a screen, and then look back up, and it's exactly the same as what happens in an in-person meeting, and so it's not weird at all. It's just great, and so that's kind of the start of it. And then we added software so that you can think about how you present, how you come across. The easiest one, the first one to start with, is just called Airtime Camera. It's all part of the Airtime subscription. Anyone who gets the kit, it's a special bundle. You save a bunch of money off the hardware, and you get a 1-year subscription to all of our tools that are free. And what Camera lets you do is basically change your background. Again, it's still my real background, right? Those are my actual bookshelves, but I can apply all sorts of subtle, sometimes not so subtle, tints, effects, name tags, visuals that really just sort of make you look professional and stand out. So this is an example of something that still comes across as authentic, because it is authentic. You can see my actual background, but it actually looks pretty good, even if I'm in a crappy hotel room. Even if I'm in a cab. This is me a couple of months ago. I was visiting your office in Munich, and this is like literally from the back of a cab.
It looks so professional, even though it's
I
in a
was doing
car.
a Zoom call literally in the back of a cab in Munich, and like, I mean, other than the fact that my face is there, it looks decent, right? Like
Yeah.
that's pretty professional looking. So that's the idea. So you get Airtime Camera, and you can roll it out for your whole team really simply. And then if you want to, you can be on brand. So you can select branded effects, again, all with your real background, but you can have different name tags, different logos. You can go through have different looks for whatever company you want to represent. So you could do this for like a sales team, for example, and everyone shows up properly branded and looking professional, regardless of their actual background. And I can just go through a few of these. So we have an Airtime branded one. There's here's All Turtles, which is the studio that Airtime came out of. Of course, it doesn't need to be branded. You could just do something like this. And again, like this looks good and it's kind of effortless, right? Slight blur in the background, color tint, overlays, everything is in the background. There's no green screen, and it just looks pretty good. And I can very quickly put up different visuals, and the visuals are also important. This is part of that. Again, I don't think it's overhyping. It's really just sort of calibrating what you look like on video. I like this intro. It's almost like having intro music.
Oh, that's cool.
As intro,
some
and then
Smash Bros.
And then I'm back here. Yeah, exactly. This is
Very
sort
cool.
of video game, sports style, professional wrestling style, or you can just do, you could do a little emoji. You can have them replace the screen, or you could just have something pop up like this. And I'm just pushing buttons. You can set this up on the Stream Deck, but you can also just, push buttons on the screen. So it's really just like one click doing all this stuff. And I can choose whatever brand I want. So I can represent my company brand. I can go to any
that is very timely, very
amazing.
nice. Yeah.
I really appreciate the mug change. I have to call that out. That's incredible. You're like, man, these references are so good. I was not prepared for that. That's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, the software does not change the mug, but we can work on that.
Hmm.
That could be
Yeah,
coming soon. Maybe we can sell like
mug
solid green
replacement.
mugs that we can replace for you.
Green screen
That's a
mugs.
good feature.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not bad. And even for like a single brand, right? You can have different versions of it. So it's this thing that like we call this useful. It's a combination of fun and useful. It serves an actual purpose. It's useful, but it's also not boring. It's also a little bit of fun, and you kind of need that to be effective, right? The goal is not just to screw around. The goal is to like make something that's effective, and we think it just works super well like this.
Yep. So I want to actually, real quick, if that's all right, I want to pull up some of these chat messages because some great reactions to these changes. For example, Mina says that this for my PhD presentations would go insane. I mean, yeah, this is one of those examples of a situation where really setting yourself apart and, doing these kinds of things isn't only just to, maybe share more branding or to just be more engaging, but also sets yourself apart from maybe other people who are also doing their PhD presentations, or to really make this memorable, just stand out appearance. Even putting your like name and like your title in there, or the name of your PhD on there, makes a big difference. I am the kind of person that when I'm in a meeting, and Coursera is a big company, right? So sometimes I'm in meetings with people I've never met before. I'm on Outlook, typing in their name. I'm like, where do they work? What team are they on? What are they, the social person that I'm going to be talking with? Or when I'm in a call with an external company, I'm like, where's the social person in this call? Who am I going to be working with? So yeah, having even your title on there is like not only really nice, but also very useful. So everybody knows the right like point of contacts in the call. Also like where the perspective, like where everyone's coming from when there's different meeting points coming up. I also want to add where is it? Okatech said when you were mentioning the AI eye filters, they said that's the stare of doom. I agree. That is the stare of doom, and having more natural ways to engage with people, being able to like look away, do what you got to do, but then come back to the chat is something that doesn't come naturally to most people, to like remember to kind of look back up to your camera. So by having the people in your meeting up there, like right now we're actually using a prompter to talk to Phil. I'm constantly doing stuff on my computer, looking back up, and this is what the conferencing kit enables. So you don't need to have the stare of doom.
It's actually supernatural. It's very natural when you do it like this. When you use the kit, that was the breakthrough. Because before I had to like remember to look up at the camera and make just the right eye contact. But here, I actually you don't have to think about it. It comes naturally because on the screen that I'm looking at, all I see is you. Right? I don't have my documents. It's not cluttered up with other stuff. I'm not moving things around. All of my documents, everything that I'm looking at is on the screen right below it, is on the laptop below it. So when I want to check something, like let's say I want to look through the chat, I'll look down and I'll chat. And then if I want to talk to you or look at you while you're talking, I just glance up, and I do that without thinking because you're up there. Your faces are up there, just like they are in real life. And the documents and everything else is down here. So this is the first time that we've been able to set this up where no, you don't really need to train yourself. It just kind of works, and it's a really simple thing, but it's pretty profound. It really makes a big impact.
It touches a little bit on that, like that humanity part, right? We are drawn to looking at other humans that we are speaking with. Now, if I, you know, they're just at the bottom of my monitor, I'm going to look down there. If they're at the top there, then I'm going to look up there. I'm going to look at you, or I guess everyone watching the live stream, right? Since we have our camera coming in through the back of the teleprompter, so it just draws you naturally back to being engaging and maintaining that conversation in a just a much better way.
Yeah,
I have a question though. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
no, I was going to say, and there's a related thing that's really cool. That the fact that I don't have the main display right on the kit, the one where your faces are, the fact that there's nothing else up there is great because then I'm not looking shifty, right? Like if you're trying to like look around people because you've got your Word document over here and you've got your Figma over there and your Google Docs and you're just sort of moving around, then it's actually worse because it's like you're making eye contact, but then you're looking past someone, you're like looking up, like that's just like how you communicate that you're like not trustworthy or bored or something like that. Whereas here, it's like, okay, I want to check my notes, looking down, I talk to you, I look up, and there's no like side to side, there's none of that stuff. So
That's actually
this is
interesting. I've caught myself. So I've been in meetings and I'm using our teleprompter and I am chatting with someone and then I do want to take some notes, but I also don't want to be incredibly that sorry, I'm getting a little bit sad. Oh, so I'm in a meeting and I want to take some notes. I'm having a conversation. I then look down to take my notes, but I actually feel bad about it because it's almost like I'm now not giving my attention to the person that I was talking to, or even in a group call. But it sounds like from your perspective, that's actually completely natural.
yeah, this is I feel like the very very first version of this idea for a product we had at Evernote, and we made a sticker that you just a physical sticker that you slapped onto the back of your laptop, and it just said, "I'm not ignoring you. I'm taking notes in Evernote." And that was it. And the point is like, yeah, like don't feel bad about that. People can tell when you're actually ignoring them, or if you're just like referring to something or taking notes or something. And if as because you do that in a real meeting, and it's fine. Now, of course, if you then like get your phone out and I'm like looking over here, then sure, then yeah, then I'm really ignoring you. But if you're present in the meeting, and it's much easier to be if it's ergonomic and comfortable, you shouldn't be ashamed of like referring to notes or looking at a document, especially if you're all like meeting about a document or going over some designs or a spreadsheet or something together. Then it's totally natural.
And so I guess to follow on from that, you showed some really cool and powerful things with airtime, that very subtle but, noticeable background kind of change, adding your title on there, even having that GIF come up or that little video come up. And I know one thing early on through, especially in the pandemic, you had some early basically technology adopters who looked at options like OBS Studio and they basically built out little live streams, but that stuff was way too complicated. Um, so, is airtime like complicated to use? Or I think that's kind of the magic that you guys are also putting together, right? Is taking, you know, making it incredibly easy to do what you were showing off.
Yeah, we've spent the past 5 years trying to make it easy, and we realized when we changed to airtime and kind of relaunched as a new philosophy that really the way to do it is to have these tools. So we have airtime tools, and there's 3 tools currently, and the idea of breaking them up into tools is like each tool does a specific thing that's very easy to understand and easy to use. When you combine them, you can get arbitrarily, powerful stuff, but individually, like they're self-explanatory. So what I'm using here is Camera, and Camera just works. It's a virtual camera, so it works with every video thing that you would do. Zoom, Meets, Teams, WebEx, whatever this thing is that we're using. I've never heard of it before for the live stream, but it just works, like, because it's just a camera. So you don't have to like change. You don't have to change the tech stack. You don't have to change what software you're using. You certainly don't have to ask the other people on the call to like change what they're using. You continue having your meetings exactly the same way, but you look better and present better. And if you just want to stand out and want to be the person, the Zoom box that people aren't ignoring, great. If you want your whole team to do it, then great. Then just get it for the team. You can synchronize your brand. So even if everyone is in a different location, and someone is in a nice office, and someone is in the back of a cab, and someone is in a hotel room, you're not in a fake background. People can tell where you are, but it all looks clean and professional and presentable.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of other like little quality of life things. Like, for example, when you turn off your camera, it's really bad, boring. Like it's kind of disrespectful. You just get like the blank screen. But sometimes like you have to turn off your camera for a little bit because you want to, I don't know, you got to get the door or something. I mean, usually I'm still here. I'm still listening. I just need to like stand up, and I always hate standing up if I'm on video, just because like I never know like what that transition between my top half and my bottom half is going to look like on video. Like, I don't know. I'm
When camera
paranoid
angles get
about
very
that.
important, yeah.
But with camera, when you stop your video, you can put in a custom message that says like, what you want to say. It comes with a bunch. That's my actual dog, Laser Wolf. So it doesn't come with that. You have to get your own dog, but it comes with a bunch of others. It comes with things like this one, for example. So you can have like nice subtle animations, and you can customize all this text. Obviously, you just type right into it. So this says, I can still hear you, but I'll be right back.
That
And
is
so
really
it's a
nice,
way to
yeah.
just show.
Very cool.
It's a way to just show like a little bit of, of care that you're doing this. And this is all in Airtime Camera. So we have 3 different tools right now, and we're launching a 4th one in a couple of weeks. I think 2 weeks from now there's going to be a 4th one.
Any sneak previews or anything you can say? What can people look forward to, or is it too early?
Yeah. So the one I'm using here is Camera. You can get all this at airtimetools.com. And with Camera, you can actually go right on the website. You don't have to download anything. Right on the website, you can make custom looks, and so you could try this out just immediately live. In fact, let me
Yes.
just
We actually
do it
have
live.
a command in chat as well. If you do !airtime look, you can get that link, by the way.
Yeah, so here I am. So like I have pushed the big plus button in Airtime Camera that says make a new look, and it says, okay, do you want to start with a brand? You don't have to, but you can start with a brand. So I'm going to type in I don't know, whatever. Where do I wish I worked? Okay, here we go. So I typed in Spinal Tap, my favorite movie of all time, and here's what it did. It just sort of set everything up automatically, and now I can tweak it. And I'm just going to do the tweaks live. So it automatically pulled some logos. I like this one. It's way too small. We're talking Spinal Tap. It's got to go
Nice.
big. There we go. I'm going to make it big. I can put it, wherever I want. It's giving me the name tag. That feels wrong. So I'm just going to change my title. Yep, there we go. And then I can say, do I want to do a tint? It automatically picks the brand colors. So if your brand has
wow.
colors, it picks the brand colors, and it lets you like change the
cool.
the tints. So I can do all sorts of different ones, but let's say I'm going to stick with this one. I can make a pattern. You see, it does like little pattern in the background, but I can change that. Yeah, let's go with kind of this one as a subtle one, and then maybe make it. Yeah, there we go. I can add a frame. You know what? I'm going to add a wallpaper. Let's see. So there's a big selection of wallpaper. I'm going to add, let's say, I'm going to add this one, and I'm going to put myself. There we go. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Now, usually you got to know when to stop. I think in this case, it's okay to go to 11.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually it stops
Definitely.
at 10, right? But this time, yeah.
Just
this time.
Yeah. And this is all stuff that's pre-built. Again, there's hundreds of thousands of logos and brand guidelines and colors, and then there's lots of frames and backgrounds and shapes, and so animations. You can kind of do whatever you want. So check it out on the web, and you could design the look you want, and then if you actually want to use it on a Zoom call or whatever, then you just click a button, it'll download the software, the look will already be on it. You could share it with people if you want your bandmates to connect a Spinal Tap as well, and everything just sort of works the way that you would that you would expect, and that's all in Airtime Camera. And then we have 3 other products, and like I said, so we have a Creator. This is what, if any of you used before, that's now called Airtime Creator. This is a really powerful way to make slides and visuals and storyboards. So if you want to use it for your PhD dissertation and you want to have slides and illustrations and materials and step through them and do something that's a much more sequenced thing, you can use Creator. And again, you can do that live in a call or recorded. All of this works either live or recorded.
And Creator then kind of combines your camera and the slides, right? And does some really cool animations, and it basically feels more integrated instead of just here's the slides and here's me. It merges those two, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it really lets you, like, if I wanted to, change exactly where I appear and how I appear, and as I step through my slides, you can make the slides in, PowerPoint or Keynote or whatever, or just native in Creator. You can lay them out in sequence, and you can put yourself in different places. You can even do it with multiplayer, so you can have like all of us could be on the same slide, doing stuff. So you can present with your team. So this is creators a very powerful uh, way to make presentations for video, either live presentations or video presentations. But sometimes you just want to make a much quicker recording, and so we have a screen recorder. This is brand new. This just launched, I don't know, like yesterday or something, a few days ago. And screen recorder is super simple. You can check it out on the website. You don't need to download anything. This is fully in the browser. It's what it says on the tin. It lets you make screen recordings, and they're really easy to make. But the thing is, there's other software that's very easy to make screen recordings. The problem is they're easy to make, but they're hard to watch because they're just someone without any care talking over a poorly recorded screen. With screen recorder, they're just as easy to make, but when your viewers watch them, it automatically adjusts between desktop and mobile mode, portrait, landscape. The viewer can make you big if they really want to see your face. They can make the document big. They can zoom in arbitrarily in the document. So if you're presenting a spreadsheet or something, you can actually zoom in and see the numbers, zoom back out. So it puts the empathy on the viewer, which is where it should be. So for the recorder, it's you push the record button, you record. That's straightforward. Nothing new there. But it's a really beautiful experience for the viewer. And that's part of it. So those are the three that are currently there. And then the next one that we're going to launch in 2 weeks. I'm not going to say the name yet because we haven't 100% locked it down, because we've had, I've learned my lesson from overly clever names. So we're going to make sure this name is right, but we'll decide in the next couple of weeks. But it's basically what you put on the other screen. So if I'm using the kit and your faces are on the monitor that I'm looking at, and then I look down on the other thing, well, what do I put down here? Well, I put my documents, my notes, or whatever. The next tool is a way for all of us to be seeing the same stuff together and be able to follow along and be able to point at things and really have exactly the experience that you would have in a live meeting, where if we were sitting across the table, remember back in the, back in the 80s, we would come into a meeting and you would have printouts and you would kind of give them out and then you would talk.
It's a little
and you
bit
would
before
present.
my time, but I can certainly imagine it.
You've probably seen it on Severance or something.
Mm-hmm.
There was actually a really cool part of that where you could see people could follow you, but they could also flip ahead or go backwards, and you can kind of see what people are doing. You could see if everyone is on the same page as you, or if you've lost half your audience and they're on page 17. You could see exactly where they are. Then you can go to page 17 and you can ask hey, what's going on over here? And you can point at stuff together. And so that's kind of that really makes the video kit the perfect solution, because your top screen is for people, your bottom screen is for the shared documents, blueprints, whatever that you're doing, and you go back and forth naturally, and it's just wonderful. So yeah, that launches in a couple of weeks with a yet to be determined, hopefully not idiotic name.
That sounds super cool. I look forward to checking that out, especially now with the conferencing kit. That
Yeah,
seems
and it's all
combination.
the kit comes with a year of Airtime subscription, which gets you all of the current and future tools. So you'll be able to use everything.
Very cool.
I want to highlight some of the things in chat. For example, Carrie, who says, I'm an HR consultant and I do a lot of virtual trainings and events, and this would be a lot of fun to incorporate into my work. That's, a perfect use case for this. I mean, you want people to feel, very invited. You're obviously probably talking about a lot of informational, important topics. So great use case for something like Conferencing Kit to be able to be, sharing presentations, engaging with everybody in the chat, especially, if you have a lot of people watching you in a meeting, you want to make sure that you're engaging in a very professional way. So yeah, I mean, it's great to see that everyone is kind of thinking about how this fits into their workspace and how, many different things that we talked about PhD, we talked about HR, ourselves in marketing as well, very useful for you, even being able to you're on the stream right now and look at all these, you can show the logos of each of the different Airtime products. I mean, that itself is a really, really cool feature. So that, you're getting your branding more out there. That's you using Conferencing Kit and Airtime to do that. So yeah, I guess all that being said, I want to go over to our next topic now, which is kind of just talking a little bit more about the conferencing kit itself. Let's break it down more granularly. I mean, some of you may not know what prompter is or even what a teleprompter is and how it works. So let's go ahead and check that out. So yeah, this is the conferencing kit, as we mentioned earlier. Maybe if you can totally turn it around so we can show them the screen of prompter as well. If you get rid of the dock first. You're gonna show them the dock? Okay, they could see the dock, I guess it's no big deal. There's nothing on there they can't see. Um, but yeah, actually right now we're using it, and that's how Phil's referencing our stream dock, because we're using a different prompter, actually. We have a pretty advanced setup here. But yeah, when you're having meetings at home, this is what your setup will look like. So go ahead and turn that around. So yeah, this is prompter.
There's 3 different
N-
components on the hardware side that you get with the conferencing kit. So we talked about the software already, and this is the hardware here. There's 3 parts to it. There's the camera, there's the teleprompter, and there's the desk stand. And so to give you a visual of what that actually looks like, you can kind of see it here. This is actually just a display here, and a teleprompter works by there's glass on the front of it, and that glass works a little bit like those one-way mirrors in a cop show, right? Or maybe you've been to a police station. I would hope not. I certainly haven't. But in those interview rooms, usually
I have.
you have. Oh, we'll have to get to that story later then. Uh, but in those interview rooms, people can look in from the outside, but you can't look out, right? And so a teleprompter very works on that same principle where the camera can look through the back of it and can see you, but you can't see the camera. Instead, what happens is the screen at the bottom reflects the material that's on it off of the glass, and then you can see that. And so through that, you can actually see what's happening on you can see what's happening on the screen, and you can maintain that eye contact. So for example, if I put Phil on there, then I'm looking at Phil, and the camera gives the appearance that I'm looking directly at the camera. Or maybe I could I could put a document on there, or notes, or the presentation that I'm currently running, and then use that either to read off of it directly if I really needed to, or I could also just use those notes and kind of that way guide my presentation. So the teleprompter is really kind of the key part of this, and it's a really quite a simple setup. It's just a single USB cable that goes to your computer and that powers the monitor, and then you have to put it on, well, some sort of mount. And so the conferencing kit here includes the Wave desk stand. So this is just it's an all metal construction desk stand that you can mount something like a light, a camera, a mic on, or in this case, a teleprompter. It comes with some cable ties here, so you can keep your cables nice and organized, and keep everything together. And wow, Phil has a incredible drawing there. Was this early? Was this like a kind of a prototype, like what you're thinking?
Yeah,
Um,
this is kind of where it started when we were like when it really clicked that we could put this together. We kind of
yeah.
sketched this out, and yeah, it's great. I do have a light on it, although generally right now I'm just sitting facing a window, and the key is really to have the laptop and the prompter set up correctly. Like the people
Yeah.
that you want to be looking at, you really want it to be at eye level so that you're just very natural, and then the documents are at the bottom, and it's all just kind of perfect.
Yeah. And so then this setup right here, this is kind of what we envision how you would use the conferencing kit. So typically you'd have a laptop. This could be at home. This could be at a desk in the office, kind of really anywhere you go, right? You could even take it with you when you're traveling. It is kind of compact enough. The prompter itself, maybe not so much, but you could still bring this with you if it is a, business critical travel. And then you set it up like this, and you then have your notes, like Phil was saying earlier, or your documents on. Yeah.
A chat here so I can bring things up like your messages, kind of have a view on everything, run the giveaway later, which I'm sure you
Mhm.
guys will want me to be able to do. Um, so yeah, this is a conferencing kit.
So we touched on the prompter. We touched on how it kind of looks. There's the camera component as well, of course. So the prompter out of the box is compatible with the Elgato Facecam Pro. It's a 4K 60 webcam. It's also part of that bundle. Now the camera is optional. If you do have a camera already, you can use that as well. Prompter is incredibly versatile with the cameras that you use. You do not need to use an Elgato camera. Of course, we'd prefer it. That way you get the best quality, the most control. But if you already have one, you can totally use a different webcam. We'll go over that a little bit later as well. We'll go into more detail and actually pull a new prompter out of the box and kind of put the whole kit together. But the camera just slots in on the back there. There's an L bracket so you can mount it, and then it just looks straight through through the teleprompter through that glass. And so those are the three parts to it. It's a camera, it's a teleprompter, and it's a desk stand, and then it's the Airtime software along with that. All of those come together to just give you this, well, incredible toolkit to put yourself online in a much better way with all of these in ways to keep your keep the people that you're on the conference call with engaged, or keep the viewers engaged that you're recording a video for, whoever it might be, or if you're doing education, sales training, something like that. All this comes together in this really quite compact package, which in the end, it just needs two cables to connect to your computer. In fact, if you use something like a USB like hub or dock, you could even narrow that down to just one cable that you plug in. So let's say you do have that laptop, you're kind of on the go. You can connect one cable, and then you disconnect it, then you walk away, and then you come back. It makes it super clean, super easy.
Quick question in the chat. You didn't answer, but we'll answer again. Houdini asked, "Can you use your own camera with the teleprompter?" Yep, you absolutely can. You can use your own webcam. You can even use your phone as well if you would like. So yeah, totally customizable. And we're actually going to be, if you bring over that box, we're going to be unopening one today and showing you the full setup from ground zero. Yeah. And then we also have someone saying, "Looks amazing." Everyone's talking about how they take meetings, talking with their hands. I'm also very emotive when I'm in meetings. Um,
And maybe as you're watching Phil, who absolutely has this presentation down, you'll notice he does use his hands a lot. It's not just talking like this the whole time, or kind of like very emotionless. I mean, that's how you keep people engaged. When you're talking normally with people, if you're standing in the same room,
yeah,
huge part of that is going to be use your hands. Something is big, something is small, something is in the past, it's in the future, right? You use this to get those points across to someone. And if you're just talking, nobody wants to like, "Hey, everyone, how's it going? Nice to see you all." That doesn't really come across. And so there's other tips and tricks alongside, of course, having something like a teleprompter to presenting and being engaging online.
yeah. And something that this kit also enables is a better angle.
Hmm.
So you're not kind of like sitting at the bottom of the Zoom call, in the corner of the screen, or like, your webcam on your laptop is like angled up at
We all
you.
know those. What is it? Those like
The
chin,
chin
the up the
angles.
nose looks.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you are able to do all these things, and bring in the mug, which by the way just like adds like 10 years experience to your resume when you bring that thing out. You just look so professional with it. You're able to have a better angle. Your background is level. It's more, even just more pleasing to look at. Like you're not staring at the ceiling and someone's forehead, I guess.
All of that stuff does matter too, right?
Yeah,
Someone you were saying earlier, or that there was that person who commented about using it for, their PhD presentation.
yeah,
By preparing how you present yourself, you're also showing the people on the other side that you care about what you're doing. So it could be that you care about how you present to them, right? And that they feel that their time is valued, that they're valued. And it also shows that you are preparing and that you are taking this seriously.
yeah,
And that goes a huge way. And it's all these little touches that all come together, right? If your camera angle is bad, if your lighting is bad, if you're, using a bad microphone, or, God forbid, you call someone from in your car. I understand that certain emergencies happen and stuff like that, but if it's a super important call and it's like, "Hey, I'm calling you from my car," it's like, okay, well, you knew this was going to happen. Couldn't you have prepared a little bit better? And that all of that then comes together.
yeah,
So if you look good, you sound good, you put together, maybe a couple slides, like your presentation, you have your logo, you have your name there. The person on the other side is going to go, "Wow, they really care about this, and it makes me feel valued as well."
that was on deck. That felt scripted. It wasn't, by the way. That was really good. I mean, Chad is loving it, by the way. I just want to say, Moose says, "I know my brother or dad would love this setup for when they do meetings, especially the desk stand idea." And speaking of the desk stand idea, somebody also mentioned that they like that the stand doesn't clip onto the desk, so they could easily move it around. I mean, yeah, it's very convenient to be able to kind of, maybe your window's really bright, you want to move to a different angle, or maybe you're kind of on PTO for a week and you don't want your desk to be work focused for a little bit. You can just go ahead and move it away, and you don't have to worry about setting up everything again.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Oop, sorry. I
Go
was just
ahead.
going to say, yeah, that's exactly how I have it set up. So I've got this set up, and it's a one cable connection because I've got a USB hub that it's all plugged into. And so when I'm at home, my laptop just goes there, and it's perfect. If I just want to take my laptop and work somewhere, it's one cable to disconnect and go somewhere else. And then if I want to do the call from a different physical location in my house, which happens, like I have two dogs. Right now, I'm sitting in a room that's kind of open, and so if the dogs are here and kind of running around and going crazy, and I want to have a quieter call, I'll like go into a different location, and that's just like picking up the stand and taking it. And it's all pretty straightforward. And then sometimes in my office, I have a sit stand desk, and that works great as well. So if I want to project a bit more energy, especially if it's a shorter call, I'll raise it. I'll be standing, and people can tell if you're standing or sitting. When you're standing, it's like weirder to do things with coffee cups and that kind of stuff. But it's a different kind of energy, and this lets you do it. This lets you do it both ways really nicely.
Yeah. Zinc says it's quite versatile. Yeah, it can be totally customized. And speaking of the customization, Jesse asks, can the desk stand go higher? So if you want to demo that real quick, Phil, it absolutely can. It can actually go pretty high up. So right now, this is an example of like the perfect level for a laptop, right? It's right over the laptop. It's basically one-to-one with my eye. But if you're sitting at a desk, maybe like back there, and you want it behind your monitor, you can raise it pretty dang high. And then just lock it in, and there you go. Now it's higher up. Or let's say I was standing now, or maybe maybe sitting a little bit further back, or maybe multiple people are sitting here. This might be the perfect angle for us then. Um, yeah, I'm definitely too short for that angle, but that's actually better for you. That's
Probably.
more one to one with your eye. I need a little bit lower for me, but you can customize it. So I also saw a quick message I want to showcase here. Jesse said the prompter itself is really good for conference calls. I feel like this kit is really going to elevate every meeting. I totally agree. And then Family Gaming is super interested in prompter, and they have their camera right now close to a small screen where you put chat, but prompter would be a better solution. Yeah, prompter is really convenient in the sense of, you think of a teleprompter, you think of a script, and it is by no means only that, it does so much more. So yeah, just in case anyone doesn't know about prompter, you can use it for scripts, absolutely, but you can also just use it as another monitor. You can drag any window on there. In this case, you can drag your Zoom call, you have your Zoom meeting up there, and then you can also use it for Twitch chat. So you can just type in your username and Twitch chat will automatically pop up on there.
Yeah, I've got it set up where if I'm not using it, so Zoom is like figured out that I always want the Zoom window on the prompter. So whenever a Zoom call starts, it just automatically,
It
you know,
knows.
goes there. So it knows. That's great. But when I'm not on a video call, I have all of my desktop widgets on there on my Mac, and that's actually been great because like I love the idea of having like the Mac desktop widgets on things just because they look cool. But I've never actually used them because I never had like enough places to put them. And this is perfect. So when I'm not on a call, it's my like dedicated widget display. I see kind of all the info I need at a glance. And then if I jump on a call, the people automatically pop up there, and that works great as well.
Yep. And then Okatek, this is pretty funny, says Phil is going to force Julian to carry the conferencing kit all the time now.
You would get pretty strong. I mean, to make sure that it stays steady, it doesn't tip over and all of that. The desk stand, it's got full metal construction. It's got a pretty heavy base at the bottom. So if you were to carry it around, it's yeah, you'd probably gain a little bit of muscle.
Yep.
Well, the nice thing about this is like the whole ecosystem, right, is set up where you can really, you could really calibrate what you take with you when. So when I travel, like if I'm doing stuff around the house or around the office, like yeah, I'll use the kit. I can move it around. It's easily transportable. I don't travel with it. Like I don't stick it in my carry-on. But when I travel, like I've got my MacBook that works great. I travel with this light. This is the Elgato. What's this one called? I forget.
Like mini.
Yeah, this thing is great for travel because it's got a nice battery. And so I'll just prop that up kind of anywhere if I'm in a hotel room. And sometimes I'll just like not even have it facing me. I'll just bounce it off the wall or the ceiling or something. And again, with Airtime camera, with the right kind of effects, like it'll look decent and professional, even if you're literally in the back of a cab. But for important stuff, when I'm at a desk, then I'll use the kit, and I can kind of go back and forth. And the same skills work, right? Like the same idea of how you're doing reactions and looks, like it works whether or not you're in the really nice setup with the kit, or you're in a hotel or the back of a car.
Also mentioned there with Airtime, there's also Stream Deck integration, right?
Yeah, the Stream Deck integration and the Airtime camera menu is actually like very similar to Stream Deck. It's just squares that you push on. So if I want to, and this is actually an interesting point. So like, it's great, and we've talked about how it's very good if you're on, like you're presenting, but it's actually also really good if you're just in the audience and you just want to show that you care, that you're like paying attention. You could still look good even if you're in the audience, and you can easily have quick click reactions, right? So like I did, that one. These are all things that you can do in real time. There's just a Giphy search. So like as someone is talking, you can just search for stuff, and that's also actually really effective. You can support someone, you can move the meeting along. I've got a board member who won't say very much, but will occasionally like just sit there listen, and occasionally he'll just do this, and we're like, okay, yeah,
Oh
it's
boy.
time to speed it up a little bit. So yeah, all of that stuff works really well, and it works well for live. And of course you can record all of this stuff if you want to make a video. And there's actually another feature that maybe we've like overlooked of the kit. This is an Airtime. This is like a great thing about the Elgato product, about the prompter, is of course you can use it as a teleprompter. So if you're actually doing an important presentation, whether you're recording it or you're doing it live, and you want to have scrolling text that you're reading, or like a newscaster would, or just up there, like that all still works. So if you're the kind of person that wants to read off a teleprompter, it's actually a lot of fun. I'd never done it until I got this teleprompter. It's actually kind of fun.
Yeah,
Just like
we have that voice sync feature in there that, for all the folks in the audience, if you haven't heard of it before, basically, instead of the script kind of constantly scrolling, if you write it out ahead of time, this actually uses
Yeah.
machine learning and AI to, well, it basically listens to your voice, compares what's on the script, and then it moves as you're talking. And so this way, it never gets ahead of you. It never is too slow either. You just, as you're talking, it'll move it for you. It's almost like having your own teleprompter operator, which is what you would have in a professional production. But of course, you at home don't have another person who's there to operate it. So instead, now, Camera Hub, the software that you would use with it, it does it for you. And I mean, we use it on all of our videos.
Yeah.
I use it all the time. It works incredibly well. And it makes it so much easier to.
Yeah, the other really cool thing about voice sync is that it will intelligently scroll if you kind of maybe skip a sentence or two. So that's really convenient if you want to like have a general script, but you don't necessarily want to follow it necessarily one to one, or maybe you want to like skip a couple parts to kind of go with the flow. That could be really useful, like in meetings or something where you have like a very specific thing that you want to present to a large group of people. I
yeah,
also do have a question real quick. I don't want to miss these questions because we have a few coming in. Michael asks, how are your experiences with Microsoft Teams and Airtime Creator? How does that flow work? Is it super simple, which I'm sure it is, but maybe give us a little bit of insight of how easy it is to work with Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, it's basically the same with every video package. So when you install Airtime, if you install Airtime Camera, it's a downloadable. You download it for either Mac or Windows, and it installs itself as a virtual camera. So that whenever you use any video, or you just in the drop down of camera, you just choose Airtime as your camera, and then it just works with everything. So it's as if you're not using anything. So yeah, it'll work. I actually was just using it with Microsoft Teams yesterday because I was talking to a friend of mine who just got a new job, and they use Microsoft Teams, and I was like, wow, old school. But yeah, it worked great. And that's creator and camera and kind of anything else. So we're not trying to. Our philosophy is we want to enhance the whatever tools you're using. We don't want people to have to change their video software, and we certainly don't want you to have to ask participants to change their video software. So if you're using Teams, yeah, just use Teams. Just install the version, install our native app, and then just select Airtime in the camera dropdown.
Yep. And we have another question. This one's for Phil from Elgato. Tan asks what cameras are compatible. But as a quick preface to that question, there is a link that was brought up in chat, which is a full compatibility. You can check out what cameras are compatible and also some additional guidelines if your camera's not there of how to figure out whether or not it is compatible with Prompter. But if you want to just generally touch on that real quick, Phil from
Yeah.
Yeah,
Elgato.
I don't know if there's
Phil,
that much
that
to add.
Phil.
Yeah, we need to start. I think we maybe need to start like doing like Phil E and Phil L or something like that. Otherwise, we're gonna keep getting our wires crossed. Um, I mean, pretty much any camera is compatible with Prompter. You know, everything from your smartphone, you can just use like almost like a claw grip or something to put it on the back of the prompter. To your webcam, either Elgato or it can also be a non-Elgato webcam. To even your high-end, you know, SLR, DSLR cameras that use their own lens on the front. Those also work as well. The configurations are all slightly different, but all of those work. And like Brito mentioned, we do have a compatibility list that lists a large majority of cameras. It's not all of them because we just can't test all of them, but you'll generally get a pretty good idea of if your camera is going to work or not. And it's pretty much universal compatibility. So yeah, so it's very easy to set up. We've got lots of tutorials and guides online as well for that. In fact, I actually think we put out a YouTube video which talks exactly about this setup. So if you go to Elgato's YouTube channel right now, we have a great guide there that goes over this exact kit and how to set it up on the physical side as well, how to connect everything together,
Yep.
and then how to configure Airtime as well to start using. So you can find that if you want basically a condensed version of this live stream. You can view that on the Elgato YouTube channel. Check it out there.
And then kind of out of left field question, but very valid. Saint is asking if it's possible to use Airtime on capture cards also. I believe since it will just show up as a video source, you would just select instead of your camera, you would select the capture card as your video source, and you could in theory add like logos and stuff on Airtime as well. Pretty unique use case, but you can absolutely use it for that as well. Or maybe if
Yeah,
you're connecting your camera through a capture card.
yeah, I was doing that for a couple of years. I was using the Camlink
Mhm.
stuff because I went through a series of like high end cameras that I was running through a capture card, and yeah, that all. I do want to put in a plug that like I basically switched to the Facecam Pro, and I don't know. For me, it was worth it. Like it's better performance than a lot of the much more expensive DSLRs I was using, and the fact that it just works so seamlessly is just worth it. You know, it's the kind of thing that like obviously like if you need to budget, then use an existing camera. I kind of think that it's worth spending money if you can on things that you use all the time. Like it's worth having a decent mattress, right? Because like you're just sleeping on it every night. It's worth having like a good pillow. It's worth spending a little bit of money on the stuff that you just get a lot of use of. I use the camera setup a lot, so for me, it's like just eliminate as many hassles as I can, and it pays off, every day. So yeah, it works. I've used the prompter with a whole bunch of cameras, but I love using it with the Facecam Pro.
It's a little bit like when you have well, even still today, but really more so, 10, 20, 30 years ago, the suit that you wear into the office, right? If you would spend money on that, you would invest in that because that's how you represented yourself. And now this is like the digital equivalent of that. You're going to be online talking all day. You want to look good. You want to sound good. You want to appear confident. What gives you that confidence? Knowing that the technology that you have isn't going to let you down. If that requires a little bit of investment, well, maybe it's worth it then if that's how you conduct your business primarily, or if you are, just want to make sure that the content that you or the thing that you're presenting that just comes across crisp and clear.
Yep. We have a great message from Scott who says, as a certified prompter hater, not our prompter, but teleprompter hater, Elgato prompter and voice sync brought them back. So glad to hear it. Glad to hear it was helpful. Also, hello. Um, and Simgo says, "Hi, Phil. Hi, Brito, by the way." I'm going to assume you meant both Phils when you said that. Hello. And then also, I did see one question. We could touch on it very quickly, just because I know we've already been going for an hour now. And actually, in just a moment, we'll switch over to the hardware setup. But somebody did ask, what is Airtime? So, as a quick recap, Phil, maybe Phil from Airtime, not Phil from Elgato, would you like to just recap really quick what is Airtime for everyone watching?
Airtime is a set of essential tools for people who work on video a lot. So if you spend a couple of hours a day on video call, making video recordings, we are the essential tools to just make that stuff better. There's currently 3 tools: Airtime Camera, which is what I've been using, that lets you just show up better, have looks, backgrounds, graphics, reactions, all of that stuff. Airtime Creator, if you want to make really sequenced presentations. Airtime Screen Recorder, which lets you make very screen recordings that are easy to make and easy to watch. Most importantly, easy to watch. and then a mystery fourth tool that's coming in a couple of weeks.
It sounds really cool though, that
Mystery
mystery
tool.
tool.
Okay. All right. Shall we switch over and build our conferencing kit as if we just received it right now?
Do it. I'm gonna move the existing one out of the way.
Bill, would you like to join us for this? You're very welcome to, if you would like.
I'm happy to stick around and watch you
Awesome.
guys do it. You should probably like get me off camera just so that people could see what you're
Yeah,
doing
we'll
in,
get a
in bigger
we'll get a
picture.
nice
But
zoom in here.
yeah, if you want me back,
Boxes.
just let me know, and I'm here watching.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yep. All right. So we have box. Everybody loves box. We have a few here. This is what you will get with your conferencing kit. On the hardware side, you'll get prompter and Wave desk stand, as well as the optional Facecam Pro if you decide to add it into the bundle. And then on the software side, you will get a year of Airtime, which we've been showing off those really cool effects, the branding, all of that really cool stuff. You get a year of that with this kit. The link is also in chat. I just put it in the chat, so definitely check it out there if you are interested in getting it or learning more. But let's go ahead and get this set up. A quick note is that this prompter box was already opened. We have a lot of prompters in the office and we use all of them, which you wouldn't believe me if I said, but we have like 5 of them and we are always using them. So we did repackage this one. Yours obviously will not have been opened. But yeah, the Wave desk stand box is fresh though. We did get a fresh one. But yeah, let's go ahead and open this up and get the goodies out. First thing you'll get in your prompter box is this get connected smaller box. And in here, you will get everything you need to connect different cameras and different devices to your prompter. You'll also get your USB cable, as well as the universal shroud backplate and the DSLR mirrorless backplate. So real quick, people did ask if you can use this with other cameras. You absolutely can. So you can use Facecam Pro if you buy it with the bundle. You can use another webcam, or you can even use your own camera and use something like CamLink to connect that to your computer. So this is what the step-up rings look like. You get a bunch of different options. So depending on your camera lens, you can just go ahead and mount it to your prompter with the DSLR mirrorless backplate, which I will show you here. And those will just slot on super cleanly. So here is the universal shroud. So if your webcam doesn't have like an existing backplate, or if you didn't like 3D print your own to match whatever camera you're bringing in, or sorry, whatever webcam you're bringing in, you can just use this universal shroud. And then you can bring any webcam, even your phone, and it will work seamlessly with prompter without having the light bleeding through. And then here is the DSLR mirrorless backplate. That is how you're going to use these step-up rings. So for example, let's say I have the widest camera. And I've got 82 millimeter and I want that to be mounted. I would put this on my camera, and then I believe the other way, I will slot that right on, and that satisfying snap would connect it to your prompter to your camera. Let's go ahead and move that to the side. Take that over there. And then let's go ahead and open up this USB cable. Something really cool about this is that it's designed specifically for prompter. So it's a really nice braided cable with this great angle. So it'll just like you'll connect it to prompter, and then your cable is much easier to route than just sticking out the back. But yeah, all this talk about prompter, let's go ahead and see it now. So yeah, in your box, you'll just take off this other. Also, something I want to point out, you see everything I'm unboxing here. There's no plastic in the packaging, which is something really cool about all of our products these days, is that we're essentially shipping all of our newer products for the past couple years with no plastic in the packaging. Yeah, just a little thing I wanted to highlight. But yeah, this is prompter. It already has the Facecam Pro backplate installed, so we're ready to go there. And then we'll go ahead and also grab. Okay. There we go. All right. The other thing that you'll get in there is also this bracket. And then this is where you're going to mount your webcam or your Facecam Pro in this case. And then this will connect right onto your prompter. So yeah, we got the backup prompter here. I'll run you through. Like I said, this is where you'll connect your bracket. And then right over here is where you'll connect your USB-C cable. In this case, we have a USB-C to A cable. And then this is what prompter is going to look like for you. Your camera will be looking out right through this lens. You'll see it's transparent. Hello. So your camera can see right through there. And then what you put on here on your display or a script or a Twitch chat, whatever you decide to put on here, your meeting, it will get reflected back towards you, and you can make that nice eye contact with your camera. Like Phil was talking earlier, like looking down and then looking back up, remembering to look back at everyone in your meeting right on there through the mirror. So that's prompter. All right. Would you like to unbox the fresh Wave desk stand?
So yeah, this is the Wave desk stand. This is the box that get with it. I'll move that over there. This is it here, and yeah, it just has a pull tab, and this is kind of the start of your setup. So if we were to go through the setup here, which we are going to do, this is how you would start. You would unbox your Wave desk stand. The box is quite heavy because, again, of course, this needs to be sturdy and not tip over, not fall over, anything like that. And so it's just that pull tab there, and you'll get greeted right at the beginning with a little manual here that talks about some of the setup steps as well as angles that you can use it at. But of course, we are going to skip that. Then you have your arms here. These are basically and all of the tools. Those come in this box. And then all the way at the bottom, you'll get the basically the stand itself that sits on your desk. Now, this thing is, again, quite heavy, so be careful with it. Try not to throw it around. And you'll notice here, actually, there are two right here. There's these two holes here. This is where you mount the arm into. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Let me just put that there. Box out of the way. And then in this box here, and just like with the prompter, all the material here is completely recyclable. So don't throw it away. Put it in the recycling. It's all made out of paper, which is really fantastic. So then this kind of slides out like that, and this should just slide out, I think. Or is it stuck on something? Oh no, it's multiple pieces, I think. What I'm showing here is that I haven't actually done a full unboxing myself of this product, and so I'm learning this. You have?
Can I
Or
do it for you?
is it this way? Or did I just do it completely
Yep.
wrong? Oh, see, I did it the complete wrong way. There we go. It
Yay.
opens like that. But when you get it, don't make the mistake I did, which is try to open it from the side. Just open the box like so. And then there you can have you have the arms, and then there's also the tool kit that you'll need with the screws. So get that out. Get the arm out here. Off to the side. Okay. Even the little baggie that the tools and the screws come in, even this is made out of paper, and so this can also be recycled. It's really quite incredible what we've been doing at Elgato to try to get, to become eco-friendly as much as we can across all of our different products, across all of the packaging, and it is quite the challenge.
Yeah. And Wolfie says, I love that you guys care about the environment.
Yeah.
We also love it. Our team is working really hard to make not only all of it plastic free, but also for some of our products, even making the products with recycled materials, which is really cool.
So what do you get? Well, you get the two screws that hold the arm in place. You also get two adapters for different microphones, or basically different thread size adapters. So often in Europe or in other countries, microphones will come with different threads on them. And so this simply gives you those adapters from 1/4 inch to, 3/8 or 3/5 or something like that. And so you just get these right in the box. You get your Allen key, and then, of course, also your cable ties. These are like
These are really nice.
silicon cable
Can we get
ties
a
or
zoom on
cable
these?
holders. And they even have I don't know if you can tell, but they have the Elgato logo on there.
Yeah.
If I kind of hold them here into the light, we don't need to zoom in. That's okay.
Mhm.
So the assembly then works a little bit like this. You can put the desk stand on the side like so, and then you'll want to make sure that the arm is in the right orientation. You shouldn't be able to do it the other way. We actually have the holes have a certain size to them, but essentially you put it in like this, and then
Can
take
we get
one
a zoom
screw
here so you can see it clearly?
and
Thank you.
start that in there.
Here. Over here.
Get more into you just kind of you can start it. It can be a little bit fiddly. I recommend just putting it on the table like this, and then you can kind of hold it in there, get the screw started, and then finally just use the Allen key to get the first one that tightened up there. This. I need some almost some, like, elevator music or something like that
Some
while
Lumen
some Lumen
music.
music,
Do
yeah, that'd
do
be
do
perfect.
do.
When you get your Wave desk stand, you'll wanna make sure to assemble it in the proper manner. And then you can attach the second
Please
one.
enjoy each screw and
Enjoy each screw
equally.
equally, that's awesome. Um, okay. Get the second one, and then that's actually it for the desk stand. So there you go. And then you have two adjustment points here. So as I showed earlier, here you can adjust the height of the stand, and then you can using the second one here. This is actually where you adjust the angle of essentially the mount, where you would then put the teleprompter. But before we mount the teleprompter, we actually want to go back to the teleprompter and put the Facecam Pro on there, make this setup a little bit easier. So we'll move the desk stand out of the way. And we'll get our Facecam Pro and teleprompter ready. So when you get your Facecam Pro, it's going to have a monitor, your typical monitor mount on there. You're going to want to go ahead and remove that because it's actually going to be held onto the back of the prompter by that L bracket. So you just unscrew it. You can use either a flathead screwdriver or there's also a little ring here. Unscrew it like so. And to make this a little bit easier, what you'll have to do is the L bracket, first of all, pay attention which side you connect to the prompter. There's kind of two sides to it, and they both connect. However, one is the correct one, one isn't. The one that where you connect your camera, basically this top portion here, it'll have a sticker on there. That part is weird. Of course, we don't have a sticker anymore. But you'll attach the you'll attach the teleprompter or the L bracket backplate to the teleprompter, and you'll want to leave it a little bit loose because you're going to have to move it up and down slightly. Next part is you simply take your Facecam Pro and you kind of slot it in, and as you can see, I need to move the L bracket down slightly, um, like so, and now it slides in, and then you'll want to flip it over because you have to screw in the Facecam Pro there to make sure to hold it in place. Again, you can do this by just putting it on the side. Um, and keep both of the screws a little bit loose because then you can, I'm going to adjust the L bracket here to make sure that's a little bit higher. So there we go. Make sure it's level. Make sure the Facecam Pro is slotted all the way in and then tighten the screw. There you go. Now the Facecam Pro is securely fastened to the prompter. There's no movement here. This is going to stay secure. The next part is go back to your desk stand, grab that, lower this here to make it a little bit easier. And the desk stand itself, the screw here does not rotate. So what you'll need to do is take the prompter and rotate that. And at the bottom of the prompter, you'll see here, there are two mount points. These are 1/4-inch threads. And you can kind of choose either one depending on your desk setup. Usually we recommend going with this middle one here. Take that and place it on the desk stand, then simply rotate it until it catches, and then rotate it into quite a few more times. It doesn't need to go all the way. However, once you have it pretty securely in there, there's going to be and this might be hard to tell on the camera, but there's kind of a locking nut here. And what this does is it actually prevents the prompter from spinning freely on the mount. So I'm going to give it a couple more turns here. And then I'm going to use the locking nut, and you'll see I can just kind of use this to lock the prompter into place, and now it's not going to rotate left and right. The final thing is just make sure that the desk mount itself is tightened. So really want to make sure that that's tight so it doesn't move. Tighten it there, and then also do that this side. And there you go. Now you have your prompter on the desk mount. You have your camera, and then the final thing is actually just
Yep.
taking the cables and connecting them to your computer. So if I move the center here, around, so it's Facecam Pro comes with a C cable, and so you'll just connect that back of the Facecam Pro out the USB-C port. There we go. And now this, of course, could just kind of float freely. However, you remember you have these little cable ties, so you can use these to basically clean up your setup a little bit and have the cables route alongside the desk stand. And then the other part of that is the prompter cable. This is the 90-degree prompter cable. Kind of a neat little trick with this is typically you would connect it facing down like this. However, what you can also do, if you want the cables to appear a little bit cleaner, you actually flip it upside down and you mount it so that the cable comes up out of the prompter upwards, like so. And now you can take both cables and you can kind of, group them together like this. And you could route them along the side of the desk mount like so, and then take your cable ties. And the final thing, I should probably get both the cable. Brito will do it. But yeah, so, or you could use another cable tie, or you could use a zip tie to kind of make those, make the two cables go together, and it'll look really clean. And then, of course, the final step is connecting those to your computer. If you only have, like, let's say you have a Mac where you need USB-C for the prompter, you'll need to get a USB-C to A adapter, or if you have something like a Thunderbolt hub or USB hub, typically those will include a USB-A port. So you'll want to connect your prompter to that. And then the Facecam Pro can also connect to that USB hub or to your Mac directly, or of course your Windows computer. And then that's it for the hardware setup. At that point, you can head over into the software, and there's going to be two main pieces of software that you'll want to install. The first is, of course, Airtime. Make sure you redeem your Airtime code. I believe it's a code that you redeem when you get the bundle.
So what you're going to get is you'll get an email. So you'll get an email with the code once you make the purchase, and then you can go ahead and redeem your year of Airtime. Also, speaking of, we are doing a giveaway for this kit today, not including the Facecam Pro, but the Prompter Wave Dust Stand and the 1 year of Airtime. So that's going to be the same thing to redeem. Is you're going to get that email, and then you can redeem that code. But yeah, you might be thinking, man, this is not very clean. Look at all those cables. That's because that's what's going to face your wall. This is what's going to face you. You can see we've cleaned up those two cables. They're routed nicely. If you, mess with it even more, you won't see any cables at all. But right now, I mean, this is super clean, and you can have this at your setup. Also, by the way that the cables are mounted attached to the mic arm, if you do decide to, in the future, the Phil might have tightened this too much for me, but you can raise and lower, and the cables, will follow. So yeah, super clean, easy to set up. And that is your conferencing kit. Now you've made it. If you want to move it to a different room, you can bring that and your laptop, or you can disconnect it and bring them individually. You could take it off your desk when you don't need it, like if you're on PTO for a bit and you're not doing any calls, or you can bring it with you to like a meeting room if you want somewhere more private, like Phil from Airtime was saying. But yeah, that's the hardware setup. Shall we get this connected to the computer?
Do it. And through the magic of transitions, we already have a kit connected. So if you'll follow me here, there we go. Do we have sound? We do. Awesome. Okay. So this is, I've got a Mac here, and the first thing I've done is I've installed Elgato Camera Hub. Now, Elgato Camera Hub is a software that you're going to use to configure your Elgato Facecam Pro if that is the camera that you are using. Let me actually towards me a little bit more. There we go. Okay, and then make sure that's there we go. All right, so this is, Elgato Camera Hub. You'll see here the video's coming in at 4K 60. I can go ahead and I can use the zoom controls here to give myself that really nice framing. We talked about earlier in the discussion, we talked about, camera angles and what framing matters. There's this thing called the kind of the rule of thirds in photography and videography. And you'll notice here that what I've done is I've kind of aligned my eyes to be in that top third here. And this just gives it an overall more pleasing look. I don't know the exact science behind it, but overall it just looks a little bit nicer. There's not too much dead space at the top or at the bottom, and on the sides, everything looks really nice. The next thing is focus. Of course, with Facecam Pro, you do have autofocus here. However, with autofocus, you can get a little bit of that, focus hunting. And if you're not moving around a lot, if you're generally sitting in the same position like you would be doing if you're at a desk, then you can turn off the autofocus and just set it to manual. And then you can use a slider here to make sure that you are crisp and in focus. So there we go. You also have picture adjustments here for contrast and saturation. Now, I would generally recommend leaving these, just how they are. Um, there's also exposure. Now, by default, it's going to come with auto exposure on here, and again, if you're using this and you're kind of a setup where you know it's always going to be the same spot, you've got maybe a light in front of you, light behind you, that sort of thing, you can, of course, always leave auto exposure on. But if you want kind of the best performance and the most control, then you can also turn the auto exposure off. And that's what I'm going to do now. And then you can go in here and tweak the shutter speed and ISO. So what you saw is that if I leave this at kind of its default setting here, the highlights behind me are blown out, or the wall behind me is actually blown out a little bit. You know, it's too bright. So I'm just going to reduce the shutter speed slightly here. There we go. And now you can see there's actually detail back in the wall, and I still look really nice. I would always recommend using the shutter speed first and leaving the ISO as low as possible. You can always raise the ISO, but of course, doing that, can introduce a little bit of visual noise. So leave it as low as possible. Always adjust your shutter speed first, then the ISO. The next thing is your white balance. By default, it'll come on automatic. You can see here the automatic is it's giving us a very blue hue. It's a very almost like clinical look. I want the light to be a little bit more warm, so I'm actually just going to turn off automatic white balance. And some of the studio lights that we're actually using here are, I believe, they're set to 5600 Kelvin. So I'm going to actually match that, and that way you can see there's a little bit of a more natural color temperature. So yeah, that's it. That's how you configure your camera. It's really quite easy. You can just go through, tweak all the settings, get your framing right, and there you go. The next part in the camera up software is the prompter tab. So this prompter tab is going to appear when you connect up your teleprompter, and here you have all your controls from power. You can adjust the brightness of your teleprompter, you can adjust the contrast, and you have your controls here. So the first setting here is the display mode. Now in this mode, the prompter acts as just another monitor. So I could take a presentation, a PowerPoint, a Zoom meeting, and just drag that onto the prompter as like a second or third monitor. The next is the text mode. This is for if you have notes or scripts, which we were also talking about a little bit earlier. Here you can write out your scripts, you can write out your full notes, and then use something like voice focus to go ahead and, voice sync. Go ahead, read your script, and it'll move it for you or read those notes. And this is really handy. You can set up multiple scripts here. So, you could say something like presentation, and then in here, just type in all of your text. So for example, presentation notes, and it could be numbers, right? Whatever it is, and you can do all of that in the script mode. You also have settings here then for your text appearance, so you can choose between different fonts and font size. And now things like font size and the margins are actually pretty critical, because if you set the font size too low, you're going to squint a lot, and it's going to look like you're reading off of your teleprompter. If you set your font size too big, you're not going to have enough words on the prompter. So you want to find a nice balance there, a nice medium between small enough to have a lot of text on the prompter, but big enough to where it's still easy to read. The margins can also help there. What the margin does is it basically makes the text, well, in, it basically places it in a smaller area. This is good, again, if you're going to be reading your text, because you don't want your eyes to do too much horizontal scanning, basically going left and right the entire time. The margin can help there. There's a couple, Burrito's telling me there's a couple questions. So what do we have?
All right. So first of all, sorry. Hold on one sec. Let me get everything together. We went from demo mode, and I definitely want to address some things real quick in chat. So first, finite singularity. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome everybody. We're talking about our conferencing kit right now, which has 3 pieces of our hardware, or 2, depending on if you want the Facecam Pro or not. You can see it right back there, and it also includes Airtime subscription. Speaking of Airtime, somebody did ask if there is a free trial for Airtime. You can get 14 days for free. So definitely make sure to check it out. And if you really like it, then you can grab that conferencing kit and you get a year for free.
Try it without having to install anything. I don't know if Phil is still here, but
Yeah,
I
if you
believe you can just
do
go on the website.
exclamation point, I believe, I'm totally blanking on what command I made. Airtime, give me one second. Airtime look, you get a link to make try that custom look right in your browser. You don't even have to download anything. So exclamation point Airtime look in the chat, and then you can go ahead and try that out for yourself right now for free. Uh, then, yep, they came into chat and said you can use everything for free for 2 weeks. Frankie says, always good to catch these streams and learn new things despite years of use. I'm glad that this is helpful for you. Also, in the same realm, Kleiner also said, always good to learn new things. Peanut Butter asks, it'd be nice to see what you're seeing on the actual teleprompter. Maybe in a moment you can show that. And then somebody asked, if we win, do we get our prompter signed by marketing? We won't be able to do that since you're going to be getting it directly from our hubs. But I appreciate that you would like that. That means a lot. Maybe one day we gotta have maybe like a new product launch and everybody signs it. We send it around to Germany. We send it back here. That would be pretty cool. Riptide says, if you can't see the cables, they aren't there. That's exactly how that works. Nova asks, how do we join the giveaway? I will share some more information about that closer to the end of the stream. And it's also only going to be on Twitch. So wherever you're watching, if you do want to join the giveaway to win the conferencing kit, you'll have to join on Twitch. So keep that in mind and come on over. And if you need to log in, do all of that stuff. You also need to be following us in order to win. So make sure that you are following. We've had to re-roll before. I don't want to have to do that for you. I want you to get that nice conferencing kit. So make sure to follow us if you would like to enter that giveaway in a little bit. All right, awesome. Family Gaming wants a signed card. You guys want us to sign everything. That is so sweet. All right. And yes, there's no install necessary or credit card for that free trial. So make sure to check it out. And if you like it, then you can decide to get the conferencing kit, get a year for free, or you can decide to subscribe. Perfect. And the link is in chat so that you can go ahead and try it out for free. All right, you can continue your demo. I just wanted to make sure that we addressed all of those things before we kept going.
Okay, and we are back at the demo station here. So where was I? I think I was talking about the prompter in the script mode, or rather, sorry, the text mode. We talked a little bit about the font sizes, the margins here. You can also adjust many other options. One of the more important options that you'll select is the mode for that scrolling. So there's either constant or voice sync. Constant, it'll just scroll at a set speed no matter how fast or slow you read. And voice sync is that magical technology where it'll use your microphone, it'll compare the script, and it'll scroll as you're reading. And I would really encourage you to try this. And I think for most of you, it'll be exactly what you need, because you can read at your own pace. You can go off script. You can talk about a wholly different subject if you want to, and it's just going to wait for you. And then when you start reading your script again, it'll just continue on there. So that is really, really nice. There's also some overlays and some other advanced features here, but we'll leave those, and you can check those out when you get your conferencing kit at home. The final mode is for chat. Now, this is more focused on if you're live streaming. This integrates specifically Twitch chat. So if you want to live stream some games, or maybe a just chatting stream, something like that, then you can also use this to display your chat. There was a question on how, what I'm actually seeing on the prompter. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to place it, give you guys a better angle. I'm going to place it over here. And if we can move back to the other screen there. So hopefully you can kind of see it there. That's what it looks like. So when I talk about this display mode, what I can do is in this case, I'm just going to take Camera Hub, and I can actually just move it right onto the prompter. So you can see there, it's just another display. And I've set it up so that on my MacBook here, I just move it up over the screen, right? That's where the teleprompter is going to be. It's going to be behind the MacBook and over it. So I can just move any window I want to on there. It could be the Zoom meeting, it could be the call that I'm in, it could be the presentation that I'm giving, or just a Google Doc where I have notes that I'm putting together with the team. It doesn't matter. All of those can just go right onto prompter. The second,
real
oh,
quick.
go ahead.
Because we were talking about voice sync.
Mhm.
Somebody asked for voice sync. Will it work with other languages than English, like French? It does, actually.
Mhm.
There's a bunch of compatible languages. I will post a link in the chat for a help article that has all of them listed for you. So yes, you can absolutely use it for other languages. I'm actually, the most recent update added Korean, and I'm learning Korean, so it's pretty interesting to try to get the AI in voice sync to acknowledge my terrible Korean pronunciation. But I'm working on it, so you can use it for French.
Okay, so Then in text mode, which is also where you would use voice sync, it looks a little bit different here. It should be popping up actually. And basically what'll happen is the script will, is it opacity? I think it might be a permission I still do.
Kleiner asks if it will work on German too. It will. I'll send that message in chat with the link. But it works with English, Danish, Dutch, Finnish, French, German, Greek, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Polish, Portuguese, Romanian, Russian, Spanish, Swedish, Turkish, and Vietnamese. And we're always looking to continue adding new languages. So if you have any feedback for any other languages that we should add, make sure to let us know. This list has grown since we launched VoiceSync. So, your feedback is really useful to know how else we should continue expanding what voice sync can do and what languages it supports.
All right, so there it's up. It just took a quick Camera Hub restart. Of course, we're doing a live demo, so the live demons are going to come after you and they're going to interrupt your demo. But here we are, just took a quick restart. So this is what it would look like. So as this is what the text would be on there. I mentioned earlier things like the font size. You can go ahead and adjust that font. I can make it really big. Then you can also read it. Of course, I would use it smaller if it's just right behind my laptop. There's the margins I was talking about, so I can really make the text, just fit into a very small line there. That way, my eyes aren't scanning as much. You can also adjust things like line spacing. So there's lots of different options there to, let you customize it how you want. And then the final part of that is, the voice sync here. So let's give this a shot. If I go ahead and just hit play. Let's see. It might need to actually configure itself and get ready for a second there. Oh, yep, we want to allow that. So let's see. Ready to roll the camera. Whether it's a video script or talking points, Camera Hub and Prompter give you full control over your delivery. Here in text mode, Prompter automatically mirrors anything you enter onto its screen. This way you can stay on script while maintaining natural eye contact with your audience. Now, of course, I'm reading it off of the MacBook, right? Because I don't see the prompter. But that's how that works. So you can see it's highlighting in real time the words that I'm reading, and it'll start scrolling for me as I'm doing that. So it's super awesome. Um, and then the final thing is the chat mode. I think actually, if I enter the Elgato channel in there, you'll see there it's connecting to Elgato. And now, if someone in our Twitch chat were to type something, hint, hint, wink, wink, then you'll see it pop up on the prompter automatically there. Um, no one? Of course, that's the moment chat decides to become quiet. No one's gonna say anything. This is your chance to, oh, right, okay. I actually need to update to a new version of, to Camera Hub. We just released a hotfix today. Like I said, live demos, it's always like this. So just make sure you're always running the latest version of the software. I think that's the lesson here. Then everything will be really nice. So that's Camera Hub, and that's what Prompter looks like. And we've had Phil, who's been talking a lot about Phil L from Airtime. He's been talking about Airtime, and I want to show you just very quickly, of course, how you would then use your Facecam Pro in Airtime. So if we could switch back over to the Mac here, I'm going to go ahead and close Camera Hub, and I'm going to open Airtime Camera. And it looks a little bit like this. I guess I will just do that there. We'll go ahead and open Airtime Camera. There we go. All right. So there's still my screenshots. But basically what it'll look like by default is, oh, well, actually we'll have Brito hop in front of the camera. So when you open it up, the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you select the right camera input. So you'll start video, and you'll want to make sure that you select your Elgato Facecam Pro here. It might start you off with a different camera like your MacBook Pro or whatever other Mac or whatever other camera you have. But you'll want to make sure you select your Facecam Pro and then just hit start there. And look at that. Okay, the name doesn't match the voice might not match the face now, but Brito is going to be our model here. And then you can start editing the visuals here, right? So there's a bunch of preset options here for these different overlays that Phil was demonstrating for these different looks here. So I can go through, oh, look at that, it's moving all by itself. So we have here this kind of cool dot pattern. I could go to this paint look here, building blocks. And immediately just by clicking this, the video already looks better, right? This already looks more professional. I can also go in and click on edit look. And then in here, I can customize a lot of the stuff. For example, the background, should it be visible? Should it be blurred or just entirely hidden? The shape of the video here. I can add a logo, right? If I were a part of a company, I can add the logo in here, change the tint. There's so much you can do in here, and you can become really creative if you want to with what your look is. There's these different patterns. There's different wallpapers that can go behind you, and then you can also, of course, actually, let me change that. Let me change that back here. Uh, let's see. Go in there, and actually, I'm going to hit cancel. And we'll just go back to edit the look. My name is not Alex Lee, so I'm gonna go in. Yeah.
I do want to give a quick opportunity. Phil from Airtime is going to hop off. So I want to give them a quick opportunity to say any final thoughts and a bye to everybody while we finish doing all the hardware software setup. So if we can move on over to the chat with him. All right, Phil, you're working at Lumen. I know you got a busy day of being severed ahead of you. You got a lot of work to do, a lot of data to refine.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You have shamed me in, I have not wrapped my cables around the back of the stand nearly as well. So now I'm going to go and rummage through the original packaging and find the little Velcro straps and take care of my cables.
You will refine those cables.
I will. Thank you. It was really great to see you, and I learned a bunch of new stuff just watching you demo this. So
yeah, same
Thanks a lot.
here. So thank you so much for joining us, Phil. And if you guys want to learn more about Airtime, perfect. Do make sure to do !Airtime in the chat to check it out. And if you get conferencing kit, then you will also unlock a year of Airtime. All right, perfect.
Okay, let's go back to the Airtime demo here. So here we are back on the Mac. This is Airtime here. We were just talking. The last thing here was editing the name. So there's already these fields here. Like I can, big text is I can put my name in there. Phil. Small text could be, location. It could also be a title, right? It could be whatever it is, right? So I'll just put in marketing here. Sure, I work in marketing. I'm Phil. And there's also many things you can do in here. Too many to go through today. You can even add brands in here, so you can actually search. This is using. It's a pretty cool system where basically brands can upload their stuff already ahead of time. So I believe Elgato is also in here. That's pretty nice. So there's tons of options here. And the final step then is in the app that you're using. Oh, so once you have a look here, I'm just going to go ahead and hit save. There we go. There's me. Once you have the look that you want to go with, the final option is selecting the Airtime camera within the app that you're using. So it could be Zoom, Teams, Slack, heck, even Discord, Google Meet, wherever it might be. Just go into that application and set it to Airtime camera, and you'll be good to go. And then it'll pull in the video here that you've customized, and then Airtime is that look. There's other fun stuff you can do around these visuals here. This is what Phil was showing. So for example, Phil just left us, so I'm gonna say so long, partner, till the next time. And I can just go ahead and click on these, right? If someone did something really awesome, I can give it a thumbs up. Um, you know, hello everyone, how's it going? Nice to be here. And what's really cool is this also works with Stream Deck. So you can go ahead and actually use a Stream Deck key to bring up visuals like this. You can even turn on things like motion, or basically, if I go like this, I can give it a thumbs up, and there you go. I can toggle that on with Stream Deck. I can even do, let's see here. I can fade out if I want to, fade my camera. I can make the size a little bit smaller. So there's all these like different adjustments that you can do. I believe there's even effects that I can add. Yep, just by tapping on, I've got a Stream Deck Plus set up here. And this is really simple as well. So, it's a little bit of it's a little bit of a moody day. I'm gonna go in here. Now I've got Stream Deck up, and you can see this is the Airtime plugin. So if I want to go ahead and rotate my camera or go to a certain slide in Airtime Creator, or add an enhancement on there, and set it to a specific value. I can do all of that. It's super simple to set up. It works across any Stream Deck, including the Stream Deck virtual Stream Deck, which we just launched. Well, a couple days ago, right? Last week. So if you have a virtual Stream Deck, you can set that up as well, and then you have access to the controls all the time. Um, yeah, so that is a very quick look at Airtime. Airtime camera here. This is the software that you get, or the one-year subscription that you get with your conferencing kit bundle. So you get Airtime camera, you get Airtime creator, and there was two more. One of them which we didn't get the name yet of, and yeah, so that's a quick look there. Sure, we've got some more questions
We've got
probably.
so many questions. All
Okay.
right. Well, first, I want to highlight some messages. Carrie says that's really cool. Definitely looks interesting. My favorite one is Diego says, "This is awesome, possum." um, Carrie says, "Every day I realize how much I'm underutilizing my Stream Deck." I mean, this is actually pretty cool. I actually didn't know there was an Airtime plugin until when we're setting up for the stream, and we're like, "I wonder if there's a plugin." And there's a plugin. So that being said, go to Elgato Marketplace, search in the favorite apps that you like to use, or just scroll through the plugins, and you may be pleasantly surprised. There's so many available for so many different apps and software, and so many different things to control, like even smart home. So yeah, definitely check it out. If it's not a plugin, it's probably a profile. I want that on a shirt. All right. Crazy asks, what software is this? This is Airtime. So this is, you get a year of it with the conferencing kit that we're talking about, but you can also get 14 days for free. So yeah, it's called Airtime. All right. And then there was also a question where somebody mentioned that they wanted to use Prompter but without a camera. You can do that. And instead of using the universal shroud, you could even do something like using the Facecam Pro backplate and just putting like black tape over this like small hole where the Facecam Pro goes through. Or you could just get like a piece of black cardboard even. Or, yeah, the covering the light is really good because you don't want to not be able to fully see what's on the monitor, and the more light that bleeds in, the harder it'll be to preview stuff on Prompter. But yeah, I've seen people use it that way. There also is some 3D printed files available on Marketplace, and I believe there is one that might black it out. I'm pretty sure. If not, then you can. There is, right? But yeah, if not, you could grab one of the ones that don't, and you have the files, and you can edit them in 3D print fully black faceplate, so that you can remove the light from coming in through the back. All right. Yeah, Zen says, I saw one guy literally remove the monitor from Prompter because it was just a nice USB powered screen by itself. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's very DIY. But I mean, generally, the cool thing about this conferencing kit is it's not just a conferencing kit. I mean, you have the great Wave Desk Stand, you have Prompter, which you can use for things outside of meetings. You are not like pigeonholed into using it for one use case. You can use it for so many different things. And yeah, if you already have a webcam too, you can just get the Prompter and the Wave Desk Stand. Or if you also want Facecam Pro, you can add it onto the bundle as well. All right, perfect. All of that being said, I would like to start running the giveaway while we wrap up any final topics. What?
How
What are you
how
asking
do you
me?
enter? How do you run the
How do? I
how do,
will.
where?
I'm working on it. All right.
How
So
would I,
first, let
if
me
I
get this
entered
set
this
up.
giveaway, win it?
All right. First, you do need to be on Twitch. I did see somebody mention that, oh man, like it's only on Twitch. It is. This actually, we're doing our first stream on another platform right now, so we don't have any like bots or something to work with that platform to properly run a giveaway. But we do have it for Twitch. So to enter the giveaway, please come over to our Twitch channel. You're gonna type a word in chat, of which shout out to Jasmine. She had a great keyword in mind. Let me go ahead and get this set up for you. You're going to want to make sure that you're following, because in order to win, you do need to be following. When I draw the winner, it will tell me if you're following or not. So if you do want to enter the giveaway to win Prompter, Wave Desk Stand, and a year of Airtime, please, please, please make sure that you are following. And to enter the giveaway, our keyword is Phil, because we had Phil from Elgato and then we had Phil from Airtime. So to celebrate this, the keyword will be Phil. So in Twitch, and remember, Twitch only, type, there's so much Phil. That was so fast. The chat is filled with Phil. So many Phils in the chat. For anybody else named Phil, thank you for being here. We should do a film meetup one day. All Phils. Oh my God, that is the chat is full. of Phil. Really feeling the keyword choice. Thank you, Ella. I appreciate that. That's exactly the energy I was looking for. Lowercase doesn't matter. Upper, like the case sensitivity doesn't matter. You can type it however you want. CAD says, "Fill the thrill." Here we go, Phil. The Philgado takeover. Oh, so many Phil. Glacial says burrito. That's the wrong one. You really close though. You almost got it. Try one more time. Filled with Phils. This really makes me want to do the Bill Nye chant, but with Phil, 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 Phil.
So about that
Back to
giveaway, how
business.
does that actually work?
Yes, so you do need to be following, you need to be older than 18. Make sure to check out exclamation point terms to find out which regions are eligible. If you do win, then we'll go ahead and send you a message from the Elgato Twitch account, and we will collect the information to send you your prize, and then we'll also get your email so that you'll receive that email to get your Airtime subscription within the next day or two. It's that simple. So just on Twitch chat, type Phil to enter, and we'll draw that giveaway in a couple minutes while you wrap up any final thoughts you want to discuss.
Let's actually take a look. So, the question is like, where do you, if you're interested in this conferencing kit, well, where do you get it? And that would be at elgato.com. So if we can take a look here, this is the site here. You can check out the kit here. You get your one year of airtime. You can also, put your bundle together. So by default, what's included is the prompter and the Wave desk stand. Of course, you can also add in the Facecam Pro there if you want to. You don't have to if you already have your own camera. And then it's automatically added as the 1 year of airtime. And so this really just dives into more of what you can do with it, what it looks like, and you get another idea of kind of how everything comes together here to give you just that really great presentation. And yeah, this is the airtime camera here as we were demonstrating. So you can add all these different effects, these different looks onto your camera to really stand out from the crowd, from everyone else. And here's just some other examples of setups. So you might be at home, maybe you're in the office, or maybe you're a student. And then there's also other things that if you need a light, for example, if you tend to be in a darker setup, or if you want that Stream Deck control that I mentioned, then you could look at a Stream Deck Neo, or, well, audio is a big part of sounding and looking good online. And so your digital presentation. So there's also Wave 3. So yeah, just go to elgato.com and you'll find the conferencing kit there, right? I believe it's right on the front page. And we also have some FAQs here. It's like, what's the setup process like, the ideal placement, basically everything you need if you have any questions about how this would work. We have a link to our setup video there, which you can also just find on elgato.com. And just everything that, we tried to think of everything here to keep you covered with everything that you need. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Check out the video conferencing kit at elgato.com and get 1 year of airtime camera with that. I think are we good to run the giveaway now?
All right. So this is where you have the
Yeah.
chance to win. You get Wave desk stand and prompter, and then you can get Facecam Pro later on, or use your existing webcam or another camera, or even your phone. So yeah, you'll get prompter. It has, like I said, all of those backplates, like all the different backplates for webcams or cameras, and then of course Wave desk stand for mounting it. So that is the giveaway, with additionally a year of airtime for the winner. That being said, everyone is really excited. I also see some of our regulars who already have prompter and Wave desk stand. They're like, I want to enter for airtime, which is really cool. I'm glad you guys are excited about it. I know normally we're especially on the Twitch channel, we're normally talking a little bit more like streaming focused, especially because my background is a streamer, but I'm also a working professional. So presenting yourself really well in meetings, and a lot of us who are streamers are also in meetings. Um, you know, this is really cool. I'm glad you guys enjoyed Airtime. And thank you guys for a warm welcome for Phil from Airtime as well. It was very great having him on today. All right. All that being said, you guys are entering the giveaway. Love to see it. Nova, I hope I win. So much Phil in the chat. Good luck, everybody. Good luck. Everyone's saying good luck. You guys are so nice. I want to win, but won't enter. Why not? You never just enter just for fun. Any percent is better than no percent. All right.
It's actually, since we're on the topic of Severance and Lumen, we want everyone to enjoy this giveaway equally.
Equally,
Yeah.
yes. All right, we
Shall
will.
we draw the winner?
We shall.
No, I'm not drawing
Oh,
it.
you have to draw
Brito
it.
can
You
draw it.
have to draw it.
What do I
You're
click? I just
Phil.
click a
You just
button.
click choose a winner, and then when they pop up, you just want to make sure that they're following.
Okay, so
All
we're
right.
gonna choose a winner in 3, 2,
Good
1.
luck. Oh no.
Dat
Following status
Nilex, follow
unknown.
status
Oh no,
unknown.
hold on. Hold on, I have to check. I have to
Unfortunately,
check.
can we
Hold on,
check?
hold on. Yes, give me one sec. Yes, they are following.
They are
They've been following
following?
since January 22nd this year.
Oh, wow, okay,
Awesome.
nice.
Congratulations, that Niall. And you already typed a message in chat. Perfect. That Niall X, you'll get a message on Twitch from the Elgato channel to collect the information to get you your prize. And then you will get that airtime code emailed to you. So keep an eye out for that. But congratulations. Thank you so much for entering. And thank you everybody for being here today. I will check really quick if we have a raid that we can go to. I also just want to say one extra thing, which is if you haven't updated your Stream Deck app yet, make sure to update it because Stream Deck 7.0 added some really cool, exciting new features, including something that I like was so excited to see for this one, which was key logic. I thought something like that was a little bit further out, but when it came out with 7.0, I was stoked. So you can essentially turn one Stream Deck key into 3 different actions, whether you press, double press, or press and hold. Yes. So for something like Stream Deck pedal, that's really cool because you can turn 3 pedal keys into 9 without having to use profiles or folders. So yeah, definitely check it out. Update to Stream Deck 7.0. And if you are on Camera Hub, make sure to get that latest hotfix as well. All right. All of that being said, let's go ahead and see if we have somebody to raid really quick. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We hope that this was insightful for you. I hope you guys enjoyed learning more about how you guys can improve your meetings, have that better connection, even though, something is online versus in person. I know I started working remotely. My career started in 2020. So I'm very familiar with virtual meetings and how sometimes you don't have that same connection. But with something like Conferencing Kit and Airtime, you can, the same way you have certain tactics you would use in a normal meeting to make these different connections, you can use different virtual tactics to achieve a very similar level of connection and engagement with the people that you're talking to online. So yeah, if you want to, any final thoughts, Phil? From Elgato, not Phil from
Yeah, no,
Airtime.
thanks so much again to Phil from Airtime for coming on. He had some, just really cool things about, how we work and communicate these days online. And if this is something that you're interested in learning more about, let us know. We have a little bit of experience, and if this is something that we could, put some content together, maybe we do another live stream or, a podcast or explore articles, right? Something like that. Please do let us know what you'd want to see there. It's a topic that's really, really quite interesting.
Yeah.
And we make the products, but we also use them ourselves daily. So I think there's more that we could share there. And if you're interested, again, prompter, Wave Desk Stand, Facecam Pro, Airtime, the conferencing kit. It's available on Elgato.com, so check it out there.
Yep.
And I think that's it from me.
Kleiner says thank you to both of us and surrounding staff. Shout out Chris and Sean for all the help. And then Diego says thanks for the reminder. Updating right now. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Houdini says 7.0 virtual keys is awesome. So excited for you guys to have virtual Stream Deck. And also reminder, something that is new with 7.0 compared to the beta of 7.0 is that a Stream Deck mobile subscription or purchase actually unlocks virtual Stream Deck. So if you're not, maybe hardware for Stream Deck doesn't fit in your setup, or maybe it's just not something you want to get right now, if you purchase the lifetime version of Stream Deck Mobile or you subscribe, you get virtual Stream Deck. So you get keys on your screen, and they are so cool. I think my favorite thing with everybody who's tried it is that I haven't encountered one person who's tried it yet that was not like, that was actually like using these keys is actually so much more convenient than I thought it was. Because I'll say, I've been using Stream Deck since 2017. I was like, I'm not going to use virtual Stream Deck keys. I got my Stream Deck right here. And I use virtual Stream Deck every single day now on my computer at home and my work computer. So yeah, definitely check it out. I'm so happy that you guys now, if you have any Stream Deck hardware or Stream Deck Mobile, you get access to virtual Stream Deck. And then, yeah, Tony says lifetime license is so worth it. Yeah, because then you also have it on your phone or iPad. So very cool. Nova says, thanks for the live stream. We also have the perfect person to raid. We are going to be raiding Hi Jules because we're talking all this stuff about work. Hi Jules is a co-working streamer. Very cool, cozy setup. Always like top tier lighting. I'm so jealous. I want that warm lighting Hi Jules has. So please join us in saying a warm hello to Hi Jules and drop them a follow. They're currently doing some Pomodoro timing, so if you are working, you can join them. But yeah, that raid will start in just a moment here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next stream. And yeah, we're getting back to work. We got a lot of stuff going on this year, Phil. We got a lot more to go.
We do.
Back to work. Right back to work. Into the meeting with I'm taking this. I'm going to my conference. Bye, guys. I'm going. I probably need my laptop too. It's charging. I'll get it later.